Well, hello and welcome to the program. This is Minority Opinions Podcast. I'm Hito.
And I'm Ricardo.
And we are halfway through July and the world is still on fire.
Yet, in these trying times, I want to remind our audiences that the world is not too much of a bad place. In these trying times, I sound like McDonald's now, but in these trying times, I feel like a lot of the times we kind of forget to appreciate the smaller things in life that make everything so great.
Yes, I agree.
And sometimes for different people, it's a cup of tea. Sometimes it's a good podcast, like, Minority Opinions, I don't know. Or it could be a nice, solid movie. Sometimes watching a movie and forgetting about the world is just the thing you need to forget about everything that's happening outside your front door.
What are you, a pseudo philosopher?
I just finished a James Baldwin novel, and I've been reading a lot. So I'm like, I put on my cigar, and I'm like, the world is nothing but pain, but suffering. And I'm like, yo, I know what's up.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. But, there's hope.
Yeah, except for fucking Orange County. You know what they said recently?
What?
They voted 4-1 in like the city council thing that like the kids in school are gonna go back and fall. And you know what the reasoning was?
What?
They said if these kids want to learn what persistence is, they need to attend school in the fall.
Wow.
Now, I've heard stupid, I've heard ignorant, I've heard arrogant. There's an excuse for all of those, but this is just idiotic. Like, there's no excuse for that. These are trained professionals, quote unquote.
Yeah, well, we all know that Orange County is armpit of California?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I hate Orange County. I lived there for a couple of years. Not a nice place. I don't have anything nice to say about that place.
Yeah, I lived there too. It was definitely, other than like Disneyland, like other parks, it's not the most kid-friendly kind of county to live in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Riverside now, which is, it's more like skater, Latino, smoke weed kind of place, but at least that's a little bit better than old white people territory, majority speaking.
Yeah, Orange County. I mean, I guess if there was one good thing that I remember from living there, it was movie theaters. It was good. They had pretty good selection of movie theaters.
I remember as a kid, there was this mall in Buena Park. I don't know how it's still open. I don't understand how. I feel like the mafia was running it or something, to like smuggle drugs in it. But they had this movie theater. It wasn't like Regal or AMC. It was called a K theater. Yeah, and it was like an independently owned one. And it was, the intro music was the intro was Austin Powers like dancing, and it showed a bunch of classic films like collaborating with him, but like cut like the 70s style where like it would be like red, yellow, green, and they're all like dancing, and it had like a very epic score, and I was like, wow, this is it. And then I saw Terminator 3, and I was like, wow, that was a piece of shit. And like it was just great. It was just great times like that. Like movie theaters are great out there.
Things are looking tough in California.
Homie, I'm not, I sound like puts on Alex Jones hat. I'm not saying I know what's going to happen, but I think I do. Because like when I saw too many people going out, going to bars, don't get me wrong. I did go out. Don't get me wrong. I did go out, but here's the difference. One, okay. This is going to be crazy, Hito. I wore a mask. Oh my God, I wore...
Shocker.
Oh my God, I put a... one of my aunts, she makes the mask herself because like she's really good at sewing. And she made a mask Mark II that has like puppies on it, Toy Story. And she specifically said, I use thick material so when you cough, nothing comes out. Thank you. It's just, okay, wear a puppy one. Wear a Star Wars one. Wear an I'm an incel and I hate women one. Just wear a mask. Wear one. I'm not supporting them. I'm just saying, like, if you want dumb people to go with it, put a Trump one. I don't care. You wear a mask.
Yeah, I don't think the orangutan supporters would wear masks even if the masks had their idols on them.
Honestly, I would honestly get like Trump masks and like some for $10 and be like, Trump mask for sale, and they'll be like, yes, I support that man, and I'll be like, I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm making money. You're supporting a Latino man. I don't. What's your end game? The second thing I've been seeing a lot is like, let's just say on social media, I remember I saw a person, I know them actually. They saw a playground like closed down, like, to prevent COVID, we're closing down playgrounds. And then their comment was, haha, communists taking over the state, LOL. And I was like, communists? There's a lot of insults I hear in politics. Like, if someone calls Joe Biden a shill, or like a hack, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it depends on where you're coming from, I get it. But to call something communist, I'm like, do you know what that means, madam? Like, or Newsom being called Hitler, that's an old one, but
Whoa.
anytime someone wants to call a leader a bad leader, just call him Hitler or Stalin. And that's all you gotta do.
Wow. I mean, Newsom is much better than the leader of Japan right here.
I don't know anything though, so
he's an idiot. That's all you need to know.
He paid for your iPad though.
No, he didn't.
I'm joking. The taxpayers. I'm joking.
Yeah, taxpayers' money, dude. Anyways, enough
politics
talks on not politics, but like COVID-related stuff because it gets repetitive. Yeah. We're here to talk about movies. We're going to talk about 3 films.
Whoa.
So yeah, let's start with The Old Guard, which I saw, but you didn't.
I didn't.
I don't know why, because you are a Charlize supporter. I don't know why.
Supporter, like I don't know. I should watch it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it this week, and I'll get back to you on it.
So this is a new Netflix film starring Charlize Theron. Everybody calls her Charlize Theron. It's Theron.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron. That's yeah.
I wonder, like, she's from South Africa. People, like, her name is pronounced differently. Like, come on.
Yeah. Just educate yourself. Charlize Theron as an immortal. It's a movie about this group of immortals who have been fighting against evil for centuries. We don't actually know how old Charlize's character is, but one of the soldiers of the Old Guard is like at least 200 years old. There are 2 queer characters. They're a couple. Their backstory is these 2 characters where they met during the Crusade. So we know how old they are, but Charlize's character, she's older. Apparently, her name is like Andromache the something.
You watched the movie, man. I don't know.
I googled it, and she's an old Amazon god. So
okay.
Yeah, so she's old, and it's a movie. Well, the basic premise is this Old Guard gets set up. This group is set up by this big pharmaceutical tycoon because this evil British guy wants their DNA to create medicines so people can live forever, and they fight. They're like, we're not gonna let you take us or torture us to be an experiment. So we're just gonna kick your ass. And along the way, they recruit this new immortal played by Kiki Lane. She is Marine, Navy. I think she's a Marine soldier who discovers her superpower while on mission, and she joins the team and tries to be a better team. And along the way, we find out what kind of shit Charlize's character has been through, and other characters have gone through. And this is a badass action movie. I really enjoyed it. It's the first big action movie that was directed by a woman of color, Gina Prince Bythewood, who's made a bunch of like dramas and love stories in the past. This is her like first big action movie. I think she did a great job with it. I love the world of this. It's based on a graphic novel, and the script was written by the author. And yeah, I think this could have been one of those like brainless wall to wall action movies if they wanted to, but instead they give depth to these characters and conflicts to these really interesting characters, and it deals with how basically immortality sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun to be alive for thousands of years. You see people like around you dying all the time, and you have to live with it. And because of that, you get jaded. You get very cynical. And Charlize is like, I don't want this life, because she's seen too much stuff. She just wants to get away from everything, and it just shows what these guys went through. And yeah, so much care was given to these characters. Like in the first 10 minutes, you believe that these guys have been friends for a long time and colleagues, and they've been through so much shit together. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I love when a movie like this takes its history seriously, like backstories about the characters. And Charlize kicks ass. I think she's great. She is one of the few actors in Hollywood who does her own stunts. If you have seen Atomic Blonde or Mad Max Fury Road, you know what she can do. And the other members of this band, the Warrior Band, is great. Kiki Lane plays the new immortal. She's the girl from If Beale Street Could Talk, the main girl.
I was looking up her and I was like, Kiki Lane. I was like, that name sounds so familiar. And I was like, oh, she's from one of my favorite movies of all time now. Wow.
She's buff in this movie.
Hey.
Because she's a tough warrior, tough soldier. The action is really well done. The choreography is amazing. Like you see the action clearly. It's not like cut every fucking 2 seconds. A lot of blood, lots of gore, lots of chopping off body parts. Yeah, this is a really badass action movie. I wish I could have seen this on the big screen. I think it would have been a lot of fun. I suppose if there is a problem with it, I'm not a huge fan of the use of existing music, like existing songs with lyrics. Like when they play it for like certain scenes. I mean, Tarantino does it well in his movies, but the way they did it in this one, I felt like it took me out of the movie whenever a song comes up. Like I think there was a song by Frank Ocean as well, your favorite singer, I think.
What song was it?
I don't know.
How'd it go?
I'm not a fan of his.
You don't like Frank Ocean? Cancel the episode. You don't like Frank Ocean? I'm joking.
I have poor knowledge of music.
No, I get you. Nowhere. Is it kind of like Suicide Squad, where like the music feels a bit off, and it might age a little bit badly?
It's not as obnoxious as Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad, when the music, when a song plays in that movie, that it turns into a music video, right?
Yeah, I think they play like 9 major songs within like 15 minutes, and I was like, oh my god, you paid? I'm pretty sure most of the budget was just licensing these songs. Yeah.
So it's not as bad as that. It's very sparse.
Okay.
But yeah, they're like they play music's like not the kind of music that composer makes, but like songs made by musicians. They play that, and that was kind of distracting sometimes. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I liked the world of it. I liked, how much depth these characters were given. And Gina Prince Bythewood did a great job with the action and the drama. And it looks like it's setting up to be the first chapter in a trilogy. So I'm looking forward to the sequel. I hope Netflix greenlights a sequel. So yeah, and let Prince Bythewood direct the second one as well. So yeah, I think you will like it. It's a lot of fun.
From how you're describing it, because I mean, I tend to like lore-based kind of movies and stuff like that. Like I like lore and like mystical backgrounds or like cultural stuff. I mean, everything's cultural, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it just sounds like up my alley, you know.
So yeah, check out The Old Guard. It's a lot of fun. If you are looking for something fun, watch this one. If you don't like strong female characters, go fuck yourself.
No, I'm gonna quote what Reddit people say. Like, hey, I'm not saying that I don't want forced diversity. I don't want forced woke SJW politics in my media or my games or my movies. It's like, dude, shut up. There
is a line in the film, well, a monologue in the movie, spoken by one of the queer characters, and it's the most romantic thing I've heard all year. What he says to his boyfriend, husband, partner, because he does talk about how offensive the word boyfriend means to this character. So yeah, like, watch the movie, then you'll know. But it's the most romantic thing I've heard. Like, it's the most romantic line of dialogue of 2020.
You know where I want to visit?
Florida?
No, Palm Springs. Get it?
Where?
Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah, there goes your pun again.
Hey, we're talking about Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs, which premiered on Hulu. Well, actually, premiered at Sundance this year, and it won. I think Neo and Hulu bought it for like $17 million, $17.5 million.
Yeah, apparently it set a record for the highest film bought at a film festival like Sundance.
Yeah, and the funny joke is?
What?
So the highest, bidding movie?
Right.
From before this one, the highest movie that was bought at Sundance was The Birth of a Nation from 2015, I think?
That movie?
16? I can't remember.
Really? That movie?
Yeah, that movie. Yeah.
Wow.
That movie was a huge hit before the whole Nate Parker situation happened. And Palm Springs won by like 69 cents.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a review about it, and they mentioned the 69 cents, and I was like, why add the cents? What makes that? Why? And then you just told me, I was like, wow, that's the most like cheeky thing that ever happened.
So this is a comedy movie. Is it a comedy? It is a comedy.
It's
right.
Yeah, sci-fi comedy kind of film.
Yeah, starring Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti. It's a Groundhog Day, kinda. It uses the Groundhog Day formula, but it tells a very sweet and heartwarming story about these two people basically stuck in Palm Springs for eternity.
On November 9th, forever.
There's a wedding in Palm Springs, and Kristen Milioti's sister is getting married to this, hunky white dude. Andy Samberg's character is there because his girlfriend is a maid of honor, one of the maid of honors, I think.
Misty.
Andy Samberg has been stuck for quite some time. We don't know how long. And one day Andy Samberg tries to hook up with Kristen Milioti's character, and she gets pulled into this portal, and she's stuck in Palm Springs as well.
Yeah, I will say, as a sci-fi film, I really do appreciate how simple it tries to keep things. Like, there's always like example Endgame, where when they talk about time travel, it gets a bit complicated, and you're just like, and then Reddit puts on his beanie. It's like, well, actually, time travel doesn't. It's like, shut up, nerd. Get back in your locker. But then this one, it's just like, you go in the cave, you're trapped in this loop, and forever and ever, when you fall asleep or die, you will start your day over again. That's the rules. And I was like, okay, simple enough. I don't care. And did you think about this? Why is his name Niles? Nihilistic.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, it makes sense.
well, what I mean by that, viewers, Andy Samberg's character is a very like he's a drunk. I think it's established that he's a drunk. He's a drunk, nihilistic, carefree hooligan in a sense. He does. When we first meet him, he's saying like nothing matters in life, and everything you do does not matter, and that's a very interesting piece. This movie, we should set the foundation. This movie is very philosophical in its nature because it's the Groundhog Day thing where it's like if you knew you would live forever, like you mentioned the old guard, what would you do? How would you react to it? And Christie's character, she gets trapped in this, and she's like, oh my god, what do I do? And then Andy Samberg and her, they start becoming reckless people who live in this world, but they really enjoy it. And it really shows you, it's like if you knew you had limited time in the world, what would you do? And in this movie, it shows you what it does. And parts of it are super sweet and loving. Parts of it are, razor sharp teeth, disgusting and nihilistic and dangerous. But it really shows you how humanity, kind of like quarantine right now, really becomes when we get stuck in this cage forever.
Yeah, this movie does play with the whole time loop thing, and just like Groundhog Day and Edge of Tomorrow. Like, it does the suicide thing. It's like, okay, what can we do? And a lot of funny jokes, and there's one scene where, not scene, but like Kristen Miliotti's character, like when she discovers that she's in a loop, she tries to go home. Like she drives from Palm Springs to Austin, Texas, and goes back to her apartment and tries not to fall asleep, but she does, and then wakes up back in Palm Springs.
Yeah, I mean, filming this movie must have been so tedious, because imagine like the same shot was eye-opening like every time. Do you think they used the same cut, or did they film?
Yeah.
Okay. But then filming each thing over and over and over, like imagine like each different reaction. Like I like that scene where like his girlfriend Misty's like, "What? Are you cheating on me?" And then Andy Samberg's also mimicking her, like, and he knows the exact thing he's gonna say. And I was like, wow, because it makes you think, how long has he been in this loop that he knows every single line that every single person's gonna say?
I mean, there's I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a scene in like around halfway through the film where where Kristen, Sarah is the name of Kristen Miliotti's character. She asks Andy Samberg, so how long have you been stuck? And he's like, well, he thinks for a long time, and he's like, oh my God, I don't remember what my job was. Like, I don't know what my old life before the time loop thing was. So, it says a lot about how long he's been stuck in this loop. I don't want to spoil too much of the funny stuff that you see in the movie, because I really want you guys to see it. But there's a joke where Andy Samberg says, well, at one time I took a bunch of crystal and took a plane to wherever, this country, and when I got off the plane, they detained me, and I fell asleep, and I woke up back in Palm Springs. So
that sounds awful. Like just dying slowly, but your day's gonna end. It's like, dude, I gotta get out of here. That's rough.
Yeah. If you feel lost, and you are like rightfully so during these very difficult times, you will feel uplifted. You will this movie will cheer you up, as it did to me. One of my favorite lines from the movie, I'm paraphrasing this, is when Andy Samberg says, nothing we do matters. The best bet is you learn how to suffer through existence. And I think that's very relevant during this pandemic. Like, our everyday life is sort of a repeat of yesterday and today and tomorrow. It's all the same. And I like that. These characters find the meaning of life, or the purpose of living a life throughout this movie, and I respect that. I love what it has to say about living.
Can we just sit here for a second and admire J.K. Simmons in every scene he's in?
Oh yes.
He is. I'm not gonna say anything at all about him, but every time he's on screen, he is just a powerhouse actor who brings so much. Like in this movie, he's kind of a psychopath, but he's such a terrific character that every time I was scene, I was like, "Oh my god, what is this crazy asshole gonna do next?"
Yeah, he's at a point in his career where he just shows up in a movie and plays this, grouchy old guy and just be that, and he's fine with it.
But he's so good at it. He's so good at being just disturbingly angry old man who looks good in the 3-piece suit.
Yeah, everybody in the movie is great. Peter Gallagher is good as the father of Sarah and the bride, and yeah, good supporting, good character actors in this. I forgot the name of this actress. She plays this middle-aged woman hanging out in a bar.
Oh yeah, the biker girl, right?
Yeah, the biker girl. I think she's terrific in this, and
she's great. I love her.
Yeah, every movie, like she plays like in almost every movie a quintessential like Southern woman, but she plays it really well. And yeah, I think this movie is a lot of fun, and I would watch this movie again and again.
This movie is not too heavy where it makes you get paranoid about life and like suffering. But then it's not too light where you can kind of just forget about it. It's just such a good nugget of fun and optimism / it's pure optimism that you just enjoy it. You're like, wow, that's a really solid movie. I'm gonna recommend it to people. It's recommendable. It's easily because it's hard to be like, hey, I recommend a movie. What's it called? It's called Hateful Eight. It's 3.5 hours long. You should watch it. It's like I'm good. But then it's like, Palm Beach. How long is it? It's like, it's like an hour and a half. It's like, okay, I'll check it out. It's very digestible, very easy to. I will say Hulu is my least favorite streaming platform, but I'm glad they bought it.
All right, so the last but not least, you saw something that's pretty special.
Let me ask you, Hito, what is your astrological sign?
Virgo? Is that an astrological sign? Yeah, I think I'm a Virgo.
Yeah, and I'm a Sagittarius, right?
I know nothing about astrology, so.
See, there is one man who does, and I will teach you today who this man is.
Is it Neil deGrasse Tyson?
No, that's astronomy. Nah, today for our Latin audiences, and Latin's a bad word. I don't care. So today, recently I saw the documentary made for the late passing Walter Mercado. His documentary Mucho Mucho Amor is basically just a life story about his early beginnings and his later work in life and how we know of him as the years went on. Like, so Hito, what do you know about this character? This man?
Absolutely nothing.
All right, that makes sense considering we live in different continents. So it makes sense. Well, just a little brief summary. Walter Mercado, he was a guy on TV. Like when you see those people on TV that are like I don't want to use this comparison, but like televangelists. He's like that, but he was really popular in Latin America because a lot of people in other countries, depending on where you are, you're more spiritual. People believe in religion more often. That's just a thing. People were very big on astrology in Latin America, and he's from Puerto Rico, and apparently people from Puerto Rico are very spiritual in that sense. So he would every day, on Univision, which is a popular Latin American channel, he would read out everyone's horoscope for the day, and he would give the most inspirational speech about how your day was gonna go. So he'd be like, Virgos. You feel tired. You feel weak. But know that now, in an upcoming time, you will feel stronger than ever, and you will make a great difference. He never spoke negative. He never said you're a terrible person for being this. He always found the best in people. And in this movie, and it's really interesting that the style they used for each intermission is a tarot card. So the beginning, it was the magician, and it would be how did people start believing that he was very mystical or psychic? and it's pretty cool. Like, he said he was in a village one day, he saw a dying bird, he picked it up and like whispered to it and breathed life into it, and then the bird got up and flew away. And then people were like, "You got to read my fortune." And then instead of like wanting money, he did it for free. And he was like, "I want people to feel like they have the best in themselves to do what they can." And he was very not motivated by money. He said his goal in life was to make people feel like they're worth something. And the movie, it's, oh my god, it's so great. It's the interview style, like talking head, where like they sit down with them and they're like, "Oh, how did this happen? How did this happen?" They ask his nieces, they ask his personal assistant, which, oh my, what a great guy. He's such a sweet, sweet man. He's like, "So are you two lovers?" He's like, "No. Why does everybody think that? I just love him to death." And I'm like, oh, like, it's just great. And then, it talks about every aspect of his life. I will say the only critique I have for the documentary, it's very conventional. Like any other documentary, it's like, oh, humble beginnings, where they rose, kind of like a biopic in a sense. Like a highest point, lowest point, becomes addicted to heroin, and then has a big concert. It's kind of like that, except he won an Oscar. But the thing is, this movie is very inspirational, not because not because of what you see in this man, but because what he emits to people. Like people, like he said, like he'll spend like hours walking through an airport, greeting everybody by hand. And they'll be like, can I have a fortune? And they're like, "I'll tell you everything you want to know." And he doesn't care. He'll sit there and be like, you're a good person. He'll hug you. He'll like kiss you and be like, you are special in this world. He was a great motivator who had very little selfishness like other, religious figures. Like,
yeah.
It's a very inspiring film because a lot of his messages make you want to be better for yourself. It wasn't like astrologers today who like make you feel bad for who you are and like scams like, "I won't date you unless you're a Virgo." No, he was just like, "Oh, the stars say here's who you are, and here's why you should be more optimistic about your life." And I was like, wow, I feel great. And oh my god, there is some emotional parts in this film that got me going. Like, that's oof. I think you're gonna get some teary-eyed moments in this film. I don't know. I'm a sucker for old people making young people cry because they're leaders. That gets to me for some reason. I don't know why, but there's a lot of that.
Okay. What do you think this documentary can be enjoyed by someone like me who knows absolutely nothing about Walter Mercado?
I think it's very the thing about the story is that it's very appealing, like a poor boy who lives on a sugar field farm and then finds a skill that he knows, and then he slowly starts becoming a bigger figure, and it's something we all share. We all want to be that big figure. And the reason why we love this person so much is that he's so optimistic and so unwilling to just take money from people. He's so wholesome that you can't hate him because he's just so he is naive in a sense, but he's such a wholehearted man that you just attract toward him.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. It is on my watch list, and it is on Netflix. So
if you look at any Latin American community, he's a huge LGBT icon. Like, people love him. Like millennials. There's a part of it where they talk about millennials love him, and I was like, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. It's, it's kind of like Polaroid cameras, astrology, and like '90s culture is like coming back. And he was huge in the 90s, so like a lot of people who identify as like non-cis and non-straight really attach themselves to this figure because it was just a person who wanted the best for the world and made a difference. And that's what is so magnetic and appealing about Walter Mercado.
Yeah, he sounds like a literal angel.
You'll love him. He's so sassy, and he rejects any type of box. He used the word cage because he said he was a beautiful dove who wants to fly. And I was like, wow, what a great man. And they're like, "Oh, are you not gay?" He's like, "I'm not living by your standards. I'm living by my standards." And I was like, damn, Walter, damn. And then, of course, it talks about Latin American culture a bit. I feel like they could have talked about it a bit more, but it definitely talks about that the very homophobic side of culture. You know, it's common, it happens, but it's something we gotta not accept, but understand that it exists, and how figures like him, as successful as they are, they do face struggles through it, which is also a big aspect of the documentary.
All right, I'll definitely check it out. What is it called again?
It's called Mucho Mucho Amor.
All right, I think we should wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thanks for listening. Go subscribe and review us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Just type in Minority Opinions Podcast and it'll pop up. Follow us on Patreon patreon.com/Minority Opinions. You can I added a new feature. If you sign up for $1 level, you can get the latest episodes, for like 2 to 3 days earlier than everybody else, and every single one of those episodes will be longer than the actual public episodes that you get on Spotify or Libsyn. So yeah, sign up, give us $1.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, because there's always like a lot of stuff that I have to leave it on the cutting floor. And I decided, you know what? Extra material for Patreon subscribers. It's only for $1.
It's the Snyder Cut.
It's
the Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut, but every week for like 10 minutes. Yeah, you can send us a letter to minorityopodcast@gmail.com. So yeah. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you, Hiro, for another swell episode.
And we will see you all next week
on Minority Opinions Podcast. But one more thing, Hiro. Mucho, mucho amor. All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.